Have you ever had a moment where you suddenly realize you don't feel much at all? Like life is happening around you, but you're just going through the motions, checking off tasks, having surface level conversations, but never really feeling anything deeply. Maybe you tell yourself you're just focused or productive. Maybe you've convinced yourself that emotions don't really matter. But then there's that quiet moment when everything stops. Maybe it's late at night or when you're alone with your thoughts and something feels off. Not sadness, not stress, just a numbness, like something inside has been muted. This kind of emotional disconnection doesn't happen overnight, and it's more common than people think. It starts as a way to protect yourself, whether from stress, disappointment, or even past experiences that taught you emotions weren't safe or useful. But over time, what started as a coping mechanism can turn into a way of being, one that keeps you from fully experiencing life. In this video, you'll learn why emotional disconnection happens and how it often starts as an unconscious self-protection strategy. How to recognize the subtle ways it shows up in your daily habits, relationships, and even your thoughts. Why emotions are essential, not optional, for fulfillment, decision-making, and personal alignment. And a simple awareness shift that can help you reconnect without overwhelming yourself. Emotional disconnection isn't something you wake up one day and decide to do. It happens gradually, in ways that feel normal at first. Maybe when you were younger, showing emotions didn't feel safe. If you were told to toughen up, or if your feelings were dismissed as dramatic or unnecessary, you learned to suppress them. Later in life, it can take a different form. Maybe after a painful breakup, a major loss, or even just the weight of constant responsibilities, it felt easier to power through rather than process what you were feeling. You might not even realize you're doing it because on the surface, you're fine, you're functioning, but beneath that, there's an emotional distance that starts to grow. I once had a client who described it perfectly. They said, "I don't think I've felt anything deeply in years. I know I should be happy or sad in certain moments, but it just feels like I'm watching my life from the outside." And that's exactly what emotional disconnection does. It creates this invisible wall where you're there, but not really there. A lot of people assume emotional disconnection is dramatic, like shutting down completely or becoming visibly withdrawn. But most of the time, it's way more subtle than that. Here's some of the ways it shows up. Keeping yourself busy 24/7. If you always have something to do, somewhere to be, or a screen in front of you, it might not just be because you're ambitious. It might be a way of avoiding stillness, where emotions tend to surface. Convincing yourself you don't need anyone. Telling yourself you're just independent, self-sufficient, or not the emotional type can sometimes be a way of keeping people at a safe distance. The truth is, emotional connection isn't just about needing others, it's allowing yourself to experience life fully. Feeling fine all the time. If nothing ever truly excites or upsets you anymore, if every experience just feels like a flat line, that's not balance, it's emotional suppression. A full, rich life includes a range of emotions, not just neutral stability. Relying on numbing habits. Scrolling endlessly on social media, binge watching shows, stress eating, or even over-exercising. These aren't bad things in themselves, but if they're being used to avoid sitting with yourself, they're acting as emotional distractions. Minimizing your own feelings. If you constantly tell yourself, "It's not a big deal, other people have it worse," or "I don't have time to think about this," you might be dismissing your own emotional needs without even realizing it. A lot of people think emotions just happen to us, like random waves that come and go. But emotions are actually a form of intelligence. They're signals that tell us what matters, what needs attention, and what's out of alignment. When you suppress emotions, you don't just block out pain, you also block out joy, passion, connection, and depth. You might find that relationships feel surface level, even when you're around people you care about. that success feels hollow. Achievements don't bring the fulfillment you thought they would. You struggle with motivation because when emotions are suppressed, so is the drive that comes from passion and purpose. You feel physically exhausted because unprocessed emotions create stress in the body, leading to chronic fatigue and tension. What's interesting is that once you bring awareness to emotional disconnection, the process of reconnecting starts on its own. You don't have to force emotions to come back. They've always been there. You just have to create the space for them to exist again. Here's something to try today. Take 5 minutes to sit with yourself without distractions and simply notice how you feel. No need to figure anything out. Just notice. Most people try to think their way into emotions, but emotions live in the body. Pay attention to physical sensations. Does your chest feel tight? Do you feel light or heavy? Even if the answer is, I feel nothing, that's information. The simple act of noticing begins to rebuild the bridge between your mind and your emotions. This is just the start. Developing emotional awareness and reconnecting with yourself is something that takes practice, and it's exactly what we train in the Inner Foundation series. Through guided meditations, journaling exercises, and practical tools, you'll learn how to recognize emotional patterns, shift your relationship with emotions, and create alignment between how you feel and the life you want to live. If this resonated with you, I invite you to check out some of the free resources I have available. You can find me on Instagram at Mike Wang Coaching, where I share insights and reflections, or sign up for my weekly newsletter for more in-depth perspectives on the topics we explore here. No pressure, just an invitation to continue this journey with more support.